Hey kids, did you know that before J.J. Watt rose to prominence on the Pat McAfee show as an analyst, he was actually a really good football player for the Houston Texans? It's true. Quite good, in fact. Shoe-in Hall of Famer caliber player. He was at practice yesterday, and it was really cool to see him get up and answer some questions. And I don't think he had planned to. I think Sarge may have bullied him into it. But just to get a look at him and to lay to rest any of these rumors that people think he might want to be making a comeback because he looks like he's fit and in shape. Look, that's not. He's about 10 pounds shy of where he was as a player, which could be regained really quickly. I think right there, he has more of a look of a yuppie playing racquetball or something. A fit like Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places. But so Sarge with that clip there. He looks in phenomenal shape. He admitted that, yes, he and Andre Johnson have both said in conversations with each other, man, you always feel like you can come back and play. I think we're in a good enough position as Texans fans that you don't feel like it's a necessity. It's a really good team rushing the passer already, but it's always going to be there, maybe for at least like another 3 or 4 years. This is the first year it really subsided with Tom Brady, so I expect it to be out there. We'll see. But I like the answers he gave about this Texans team specifically. First one, what do you think of the energy on this Texans defense at camp today? And the thumbnail says something like, no lies detected, or the title is, JJ could sniff out the I wanted to say BS, but I don't know how they'd handle that thumbnail. This is JJ on Asked about what do you think of the energy of this Texans defense?
It's incredible. I was talking to some people on the sideline, like those are the moments you miss the most. Practicing with your guys, make a play, and everybody goes nuts. The whole sideline, the whole defense. There's just nothing better. And those are the best teams. In the middle of June, the last day of minicamp, going crazy over a play, just because you love the game, you love your brothers, you love to make plays, and that's going to translate in the fall. This is a really good group.
Yeah, and that's evident, but I think when I say JJ could smell out the BS, there's a lot of false enthusiasm at times in pro sports. Guys that they want to make a good show of looking like you're really energetic or you care. It's very, very genuine with this defense, and I think the biggest thing, if JJ's watching that defense, you think about the fact that, man, the two things that complement each other are the pass rush and the defensive backs. And when JJ talks about it building, it's so nice when you're if a pass rusher just almost hits the quarterback but doesn't quite get there, but you know that there's a good chance that by pressuring the quarterback, you get an interception out of it. That's a good feeling as a team. Likewise with defensive backs, it's really nice that, man, I got dusted on this play. I hope the pass rush comes clean. They can bail you out. Or the conversely, that if you're a defensive back and you're really good and you cover a guy for 4.5 seconds, but the pass rush just doesn't get there, that can really start to wear on team morale. And you don't have to worry about that with those guys. I think the competence is genuine, but B, it's a fun group of dudes when you look at some of the big personalities out there and the energy with which they play, especially in the defensive backfield, especially Will Anderson, all of that, Azeez Elshire. They do some really good stuff. And I think JJ appreciates that because he's been on good teams, he's been on bad teams, and he knows how much different it feels when you're on a good defense versus when you're on a bad defense or a bad team. It sucks. Next question that I wanted to address, I've only got a few here. 2 years ago, you said DeMeco would change things. Have you seen that stamp of DeMeco?
Yeah, I would say that there has been nothing that could have changed the trajectory of the organization more than that. Now, obviously, you also have to add the drafting of CJ and Will and the moves that they've made, but none of it happens without DeMeco at the helm. The personality he has, the culture he's built, the knowledge that he has, it's been incredible to watch. And I think that you see players wanting to come here to play for DeMeco Ryans because of who he is and what he's built.
Yeah, and I think that was echoed a little bit in Nick Chubb's sentiment that part of the appeal of this was simply DeMeco. And it's a really good advertisement for free agents, just seeing DeMeco on the sidelines in a nationally televised game. He's happy as hell for his guys when they succeed. He's not freaking out or panicking when times are rough. You can see just his personality just shines through. And that's something that players appreciate, especially if maybe they've been in one of the organizations where it wasn't so hot. Maybe if they played for the 2021 Houston Texans, for instance, or many other versions thereof. the one thing too is that I think D'Amico, if you think about where we felt before D'Amico was hired, where a lot of people were really skeptical that A, D'Amico would want the job, or B, there were people that wondered, hey, D'Amico had sued the organization over the turf conditions when he hurt himself coming in here with the Eagles. Like, there were people that wondered whether the Texans would hire him. Like, in hindsight, my God, that would have been can you imagine how stupid the Texans would have been if they had let that be a barrier to hiring D'Amico Ryans? You go to the butterfly effect, and man, what if Charlie Casserly hadn't drafted D'Amico Ryans and he hadn't played here? Because D'Amico very much wanted to come back here because of his ties to the team, because his family, because his wife's family is from here. There were so many things that just made it the perfect scenario to really be lifted up out of the depths of the worst environments in the NFL. And it's been a little bit of luck along the way. CJ being the second guy available. I don't know. We'll see how Bryce Young goes. This isn't a Bryce Young pile-on session, especially because he played well in the second half of last season. Next question. This is in relation to JJ is going to be a color analyst paired up with Ian Eagle. They'll be the number 2 team behind Nance and Romo this year. So he'll be doing some high-profile games, probably going to do at least a couple Texans games. Why was it time to be an analyst, or what do you look forward to about it?
I would say it has nothing to do with the decorations. It has more to do with the day-to-day enjoyment of what you do. I love the game of football. When I was playing, I always said I would never be an analyst. I was like, you'll never, ever catch me doing that. And then I retired and I realized, son of a bitch, I really love this game. Like, I really love football. So I want to be around it. I want to be a part of it. And I love watching these guys at the highest level do what they do. So,
yeah, look, JJ's had the advantage of having a couple years to kind of dip his toe into every different thing you can do in media these days. Well, he's also involved with his soccer team and anything else. His second child is on the way. But that's what you got to do. I think sometimes, guys that swore I was never going to get into media. Now I've been doing it for God knows how long, like 12 years or so. I spent a few years, and you just kind of realize, all right, man, all right, there's like, I have a certain skill set and a knowledge base that a lot of people in the world don't have. And B, you miss learning about the new things. And as a color analyst, it's going to be really interesting because linemen have a prejudice that they have to work against when it comes to being a color analyst, because most of the TV executives think, no, we want the guys that can really explain the nuances of the game. Then you get into the game and you realize there's not that much time to explain that much nuance. So JJ, and I know the way he's going to attack this, can end up learning a lot more about the complete game of football, coverages, the passing game, all of that, and still be relatable and tell the stories about what it's like in the trenches. I mean, one of the reasons people like John Madden was because he would specifically zero in on the things that were happening on the offensive or defensive line that the average person might miss, and kind of give an education into it. And I think JJ will be really good in that regard. So I'm excited about that. The one condition, though, and I'm warning everybody right now, when a guy who played for your team is the color analyst of a game that you're watching with your team, there's the other side, the opponent's fan base is going to think that JJ is biased. But then there's going to be times where JJ is either critical of the Texans or complimentary of the other team, and you might feel betrayed. How are you going to handle that, JJ? Oh, crap. I don't have the right one. Let's see.
It's crazy. You don't find out sometimes until the week.
So Landry asked him about preparing for games and if he knows what his schedule is or what games he'll be doing yet this year.
It's crazy. You don't find out sometimes until the week before, but sometimes, a couple weeks before. I would imagine. I mean, we have the AFC, and the Texans are obviously a draw in the AFC, so we'll have some. As far as what I'm nervous about, I'm not nervous about much, because I know for a fact that half the people are going to shit on me for liking one team and half the people are going to shit on me for liking the other team. So it doesn't really matter what I say. I'm going to get trashed either way. So that gives me a lot of freedom to just say what I want to say and just to be truthful and honest. And I'm really looking forward to it.
You know what pops to mind? John Cena. Been a baby face your whole life, and now all of a sudden people are going to hate you. At some point, he's going to make the John Cena heel turn when he has to point out that, man, boy, CJ should have done the other thing on this player, what have you. I think he'll be fine with that because he's had to deal with social media hatred for a long time from outside the city of Houston. I mean, the guy had to deal with raising however tens of many millions of dollars he did after the hurricane, and then having people falsely accuse him of not distributing the money properly. That's real world stuff right there. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. I'm just you just got to prepare yourself for, at times, all right, you might be critical of the Texans. That's his job. I think Troy Aikman does a really good job of it, and I know a lot of you will disagree with me on that. When Aikman does Cowboys games, if anything, I feel like sometimes he might be a little bit because he gets frustrated and upset with the way the Cowboys are being operated. I think sometimes he's actually harder on the Cowboys than he is on the other team. And like JJ, similar mindset. I think he'll be just fine. Next one, just on his glowing thoughts and observations of Will Anderson Jr.
I think the best part about Will is that he understands his potential and he wants to do everything possible to achieve it. And not everybody has both of those things together. Some people don't understand how great they could be, and other people aren't willing to work hard enough to accomplish it. Will has both. And it's been really fun to watch him grow and progress because he is willing to put in all that work and he is willing to make the sacrifices, and he's reaping the rewards because of it.
And JJ's speaking very eloquently already. He sounds like an analyst. I mean, I know he's been an analyst, but as a color commentator, there's more pressure on you. You got to do things in the moment, everything. I think he's going to hit it out of the park. And he's gotten more and more, like on the McAfee show and everything, he's gotten more and more comfortable, more willing to just show his genuine and real personality. It's really cool. As far as Will Anderson goes, if you think about JJ Watt and his path to the NFL and Will Anderson and his path to the NFL, there are some similarities in that, you know, JJ started off as a tight end, transfers to Wisconsin, he's playing defensive end, but he also was a defensive lineman and nothing else. And he was able to work on a lot of things throughout college that got him ready for the NFL, and where he maybe had a little bit more polish than some guys. Nick Bosa would be another guy who was a defensive end in a 4-3 defense, and that's what he was working at and training the entire time. With Will was playing off-ball linebacker, and then when he came down and played defensive end, he wasn't really playing it the way a pass rush defensive end in the NFL does, where you're just lining up wide and getting after it. He was doing a lot of stuff where he was more head up on the offensive tackle. And when it came to being a pure pass rusher, he was very raw. So that's what's so exciting about Will, is that some guys, everything that JJ was talking about in terms of the work ethic is so important, because the guys that have the physical traits and the physical skills, but that never develop the polish on their pass rush, they just become flash in the pans or underwhelming or whatever. Will's going to work at it, and I think there's still significant upside because he's still getting comfortable with playing this specific role. He's had 2 years at it. We saw a huge improvement from year 1 to year 2, and I think we'll see more after that. What's more frustrating, getting to the quarterback in under 2 seconds, but DBs can't cover, or a DB covering for 4 seconds and the pass rush can't get home? I can only look, I was a run stuffing defensive tackle, so I can't speak from personal experience. I'll tell you, as a defense, if you don't have a good pass rush, man, it sucks. Like pass rushers are accustomed to, you're going to be the best pass rusher in the world, and you're in a really good season, you're getting a sack 1 out of every 40 pass rushes or so. So you're used to some of the frustration of not getting the production. But when you don't have a pass rush as a unit, and those defensive backs are sitting back there just covering, I don't care how good you are, you can only do that for so long before it starts to hurt your performance. And so I'll side with the defensive backs on this one. Hopefully it's not a problem Texans fans have to worry about for any time in the foreseeable